one step back. Forward, together, not one step back. Forward, together, not one step back. Forward, together, not one step back. Woo! Thanks for coming, everybody. Here's Liz Pereira with the Sierra Club to kick things off.
Woo! Hey, everybody. Thanks so much for coming down today. We are here today to react to Trump pulling out of the Paris Climate Agreement. And I would like all of you to boo. I want us all to raise our fists in the air. Raise a fist in the air. And I want you to say, shame on you, Donald Trump. Shame on you, Donald Trump. We are stronger together. We are stronger together. And we will prevail. And we will prevail. I'm going to be your MC here for our rally tonight. And I'm going to go ahead and first turn it over to TC, who's from the Hip Hop Caucus, who's going to get us started with some words of inspiration. TC.
All right, let's start it like this. I had to take the collar off. I had to take the tie off because we got some serious business to talk about, right? Are y'all ready to talk some serious business? So on behalf of Reverend Lennox Ewell, our CEO and president, let me just say this is straight up madness. This is straight up madness what we heard today. And shame on Donald Trump. And make sure, Donald Trump, we're going to quickly try to get you out of here. Because this is crazy what's going on. For him to pull out the Paris Agreement, to pull out the Paris Accord, this is crazy. Today I stand here as a black man and I understand injustice. I understand what we had to fight for in civil rights. Today I stand as a Muslim. And right now I'm practicing Ramadan, so I know what it means to deny water. But I'll be dadgum if he gonna deny people the right to clean water because you don't want to pull out this Paris Agreement. I'll be dadgum that our people have to die in Flint, Michigan because they need water because they're pulling the budget from the EPA. I'm upset with you that you're not doing right by indigenous people when more and more pipelines in Virginia, more and more trying to push the pipelines in North Dakota. I'm ashamed of our president because you're killing us. And I'm not going to allow you to kill my son and not allow him to have clean air and clean water. It's an injustice that you're doing. When other nations around the world are coming together and we have made a commitment to the world and you want to come pull it out. Talking about you got it because of jobs. We know we need to invest in renewables. We need to invest in clean energy. And we know that the health concerns in our vulnerable communities. We know our frontline communities are dying. So are you saying that you don't care about our frontline community? Are you saying that you don't care about people of color? As we continue to die, as we continue to have asthma, as we continue with all the things that you want to pull out, this is a massive step back from the global movement against climate change. So we understand, President Bush, the oil and fossil fuel industry got a stranglehold on you. They got you by the neck and they got you by the pocket. But we're not going to stop. See, in hip-hop, and Reverend Ewell will always say, can't stop, won't stop. So I want the people to say and let y'all know from us, the Hip Hop Caucus, we're not going to stop. We're going to keep pushing. We're going to keep moving. So I want y'all to say it with me right now. Can't stop, won't stop. Can't stop, won't stop. Can't stop, won't stop. Can't stop, won't stop. So we're going to keep fighting. We're going to have a wonderful day, and we're going to let Trump know that the people's voice will be heard, and we will not be denied. We will have our clean air and clean water, and you will not stop that, Trump.
Thank you, TC. Thank you, TC. All right, now we're going to hear from Michael Breen, who is the president of the Truman Center and the Truman National Security Project. He's here to talk about the amazing insecurity that we're going to face under climate change. Michael.
Thank you. I'm here today representing a community of over 1,500 veterans and national security experts who are opposed to this decision. Okay. It was my great honor to serve the United States in uniform as an Army officer in Iraq and Afghanistan. I've spent most of my career devoted to the national security of the United States. Since 1945, this country has led the world in facing collective action threats around the world that no one nation can face alone. Pandemic disease, the spread of nuclear weapons, and through this agreement, climate change. A threat the Pentagon recognizes as a threat multiplier, as an accelerant of instability, one of the great national security threats of the 21st century. A threat that respects no boundary but the atmosphere itself. Paris was a towering achievement of American diplomacy and global leadership. And now we have chosen to join a tiny handful of countries like Nicaragua and Syria in standing apart from the world. This is a decision that cedes the leadership of the 21st century to countries like China, to our economic competitors, that will have no benefit for the American working class and the American economy. Every human being on earth lost today, but no one lost more than the American people. We will fall behind in the race for the 21st century because of this short-sighted, non-strategic decision by this White House. We cannot allow it to stand. So I'm here for my daughter. I'm here for the American people. I'm here for every veteran who has come home and found a job in the clean energy industry, who is proudly building the 21st century economy, putting up the wind farms and the solar farms that are going to be the future of this country, of our energy independence and our economic revitalization. We have got to fight back against this choice. It is against the strategic interests of the United States. It will harm our national security, and it is ultimately a threat to every human being on earth. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. That's right. All right, now we're going to hear from SEIU, one of the largest unions in the United States. Trump says he cares about workers. Is that right? No, he doesn't care about workers. He doesn't care about any of us. He cares about the billionaires who give him gobs of money to do their bidding in the fossil fuel industry. Now I'm going to turn it over to Judith Howell from SEIU.
I want to thank the organizers for this quick rally today. I want to first and foremost say that I am a security officer here in Washington, D.C. We keep people safe in office buildings, and I'm a proud member of 32BJ of the Service Employees International Union. I saw some of you on April 29th when we came 200,000 strong.
That's right.
We'll be back 500,000 strong. The effects of climate change are real, and the causes of climate change are clear. My union worked on the front lines in the storm called Katrina. That was climate change. Make no mistake, my health workers in SEIU are working on the front lines in Florida now, fighting the Zika virus. That's climate change. Make no mistake about it. I'm going to give you a little history lesson because I saw a lady sign and she said the United States is getting small, not great. When I grew up in the 50s, my family used to give as an example of segregation in the United States, not just Jim Crow in the South, but the fact that Ralph Bunche, whose name had been spoken to be the Secretary of State, was passed over because he was a black man. And they always used to say it at the dinner table that they got Christian Herter out of his bedridden crippled state, put him on braces and arm braces, so crutches, so he could stand up and be the Secretary of State. I got news for you. Christian Herter and Ralph Bunche are rolling over in their graves today because of this international diplomatic disaster that this man is putting in place in our country. Let us be very clear. This decision affects everyone. And as our veteran brother said, it affects no one more than it affects the American people. Because we've been the greatest consumers, the greatest wasters, the greatest fossil fuelers, and we're going to go down if we don't reverse this course and reverse it soon.
Pulling us out of a global agreement is a giant step backwards. And this man who allegedly leads this country is leading us down a dangerous path that will destroy the planet. And we don't have a spaceship to escape on. We're here to say that it's time to put the health and welfare of our communities before polluters' profits. We know that communities of color, working families, and immigrant communities disproportionately suffer the devastating impacts of toxic pollution and climate change. But like I told you, on April 29th, water and air get around. So it affects everybody. Going forward, we have to and we must hold greedy, polluting corporations and their political minions and their clever little lobbyists accountable. We must. We must join together with those in the community seeking jobs and justice and put them to work in the green industries. We must join with the environmentalists and say, you're making human beings homeless. Now you're going to have to make the polar bears and the caribou homeless. And we must change, yes, change the direction of the effects of climate change and what it's doing to our planet, Mother Earth. We will organize. Will we organize? To inform more people of how their local problems are connected to our planet's environmental health. It might not be your sinuses, it might not be your allergies, it might be how much methane they let come out of the back pipes and everything that runs with the engine. We will resist the bullcocky. Alternative facts. Fight for a better future for all of our young people worldwide. Fight against pollution-driven climate change, because I learned at 32BJ that when we fight, we win. And brothers and sisters, all of my brothers and sisters, this is one fight we cannot lose. The world is watching us, and we cannot let what he did at 3 o'clock stand as America.
Thank you, Judith from SEIU! Let's hear it up! All right, now it is my great pleasure to introduce my congressman from the 8th District of Maryland, Jamie Raskin! Give it up for Jamie Raskin!
Thank you very much. I do represent Maryland's 8th Congressional District, home to NIH, home to NOAA, a place where we believe in science and we believe in facts. And so where else could I be other than right here today? Mr. President, are you serious? Are you serious? You were elected, to the extent you were in the Electoral College, to represent the common good, not the carbon industry. Okay? Donald Trump says that climate change is a hoax perpetrated on the Americans by the Chinese. But if you read the intelligence agency report prepared by 18 American intelligence agencies, you know the truth. Donald Trump is the hoax perpetrated on the Americans by the Russians. And now we're paying the price for it today. Ladies and gentlemen, climate change denialism now threatens the existence of the human species. 98% of professional scientists agree climate change is real. Climate change is caused by human activity, and climate change is a dagger at the throat of humanity. And Donald Trump simply wants everybody to go to sleep. And we're not going to do that. The American people who believe overwhelmingly in the reality of climate change are not going to put up with the climate isolationism of Donald Trump and his cabinet of billionaires from big oil. We're not going to go along with it. decision leaves us isolated in the world, with 194 countries moving forward to reduce the threat of climate change. 194 countries, including China and India, the European Union, Canada, Mexico, you name it, all of them are for it, and Donald Trump sticks his head in the sand. Instead, this decision leaves Donald Trump and the right wing of the Republican Party isolated within the United States, because the vast majority of cities in America are fighting climate change and going way beyond what even the Paris Agreement calls for. The states and the counties and cities are not waiting for the misleadership of Donald Trump. We're moving forward without Donald Trump. And every public opinion poll shows that the vast majority of Americans support the Paris Agreement, except the president doesn't. Even the businesses that he's claiming to speak for are not on the side of pulling the plug on the Paris Agreement. The good news is this: despite this sticking the head in the sand gesture of President Trump, the climate change agreement passed in Paris will go on. And the states and the counties and the cities, the towns, the people of America will be with it until we can get a new occupant of the building across the street.
Thank you, Congressman Raskin! That is what real leadership looks like. Real leadership, which we are not seeing a lot of today. I am pleased to introduce our next speaker. He is the chairman of the Democratic National Committee. He is Tom Perez. Give it up for Tom.
Good afternoon, everyone. We're spending too much time at Lafayette Park because this president is spending too much time turning back the clock on American values. And that is why we will continue to come back to Lafayette Park. I come to you not simply as the chair of the Democratic Party. I come to you as your former Labor Secretary of the United States. We were about job creation in the Obama administration. And clean energy is the future of job creation in the United States of America. It is a $6 trillion industry by the year 2030. $6 trillion. We have a president who just negotiated the worst business deal of his life. And this is the business president. On behalf of the people of Nicaragua, folks, shame, 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 shame. You know you are in bad company when the only other country in the United Nations who has your position is the country of Syria. Now you might say Nicaragua did too, but I'm here to tell you, Nicaragua didn't sign on to the Paris Accords because they didn't think it went far enough. So the United States stands alone with the country of Syria, denying climate change. That is abominable. This president can and will and must be held accountable, my friends. And you know what, folks? He said earlier today, I'm here to represent the people of Pittsburgh, not Paris. Well, I'm here to tell you on behalf of the mayor of Pittsburgh, he supports the Paris climate change agreement. And you know what? I'm here to talk to you on behalf of the mayor of Buffalo, New York, where I was born. You know what, folks? The largest solar panel manufacturing facility in the Western Hemisphere is being constructed in Buffalo, New York, at the site of the former Republic Steel plant. The largest solar panel manufacturing facility in the Western Hemisphere. We helped get that built. We're helping to create jobs. This is what the clean energy economy does. It creates jobs for people in Buffalo, for people in Birmingham, for people in Pittsburgh, for people all over America. If you want to put America first, create jobs for Americans here. That's what putting America first is about. And don't take my word for it. Talk to the CEOs across America who embrace the Paris Accords, because they understand that we need to get ahead of the future, not put our head in the sand from the past. That's what this is about. When the president visited the Pope recently, the Pope gave him some essays about climate change. The Vatican said this morning that the president's decision would be a slap in the face. Instead of listening to the Holy Father, he decided to stick it to Mother Earth. That's what this president did. You know what, folks? We're here to tell this president, you know, shame is right. You know, we're here to tell this president, you can't ban hurricanes from entering this country. You cannot dismiss rising tides and temperatures as fake news. You know what? We shouldn't have to wait until Mar-a-Lago goes underwater before this president starts understanding climate change. We understand as Democrats that climate change is a threat to our country, it's a threat to our world. And that is why I am here today to say to you that the Democratic Party stands firmly in favor of a clean energy economy. We stand behind the American workers who are benefiting from the focus on the future. This is an environmental disaster. This is an economic disaster. This is a moral disaster. This is a public health disaster. This is an abdication of leadership. And you know what we will do? We will make sure that people who support this president, others in Congress, others in state legislatures, that they pay for this at the ballot box. That's what we will do. So I say to you today, my friends, this is one storm that we cannot wait out. Climate change, as you know, is real. The earth is round. Water is wet, and the American people will not forget what happened on Election Day in Virginia, in New Jersey, in Maryland, and all across these great United States of America. We must lead. We must lead, we can lead, and we will lead, but only with grassroots activism from folks right here on Lafayette Park and all the way across the country. That's how we will take America back. Si se puede. I am confident. Si se puede. Si se puede. Si se puede. Si se puede. You know what? On Election Day, you know what we will be saying? Another saying in Spanish. It's called logramos. That means we did it. Today, si se puede. On Election Day, logramos. But today, si se puede. On Election Day, logramos. Today, si se puede. On Election Day, logramos. Today, si se puede. On Election Day, logramos. That's what we have to do. And I'm here to tell you that we will be in this foxhole for as long as necessary to get this person out of the White House and to elect people who understand the importance of climate for our country. Thank you very much.
Take back the House. Thank you, Tom Perez. Take back the House. That was amazing. That is what leadership looks like. It is now my pleasure to introduce the next speaker. She's the former head of the Council on Environmental Quality under President Obama, and she is now at the Center for American Progress Action Fund. Christy Goldfuss.
All right, everybody. Oh, she told me I could stand, but maybe not. I'll take it down. Let him hear you inside there. Make some noise. Boo, he's right. Boo. 6 months ago, I walked out of this building and these gates with my head held high every day. So proud to work for a real leader, to work for a man who understood that climate change is a problem that the entire world needs to address. Leadership means coming together to address it together. So the only silver lining we have from today is that there are no more questions. There's no benefit of the doubt. There's no less bad alternative. There's no hoping Ivanka is going to save the day. We know the answer now. We know what his moral decision is. The battle lines have been drawn, and every progressive in this country needs to do exactly what Tom Perez said. Every politician from here on out needs to answer, do you stand with the Paris Agreement and protecting the future of our children? Or do you stand with an antiquated past that no one understands why you would do that? So I'm sure many of you feel the way I do today. Sad, a little heartbroken. But that's all right. Because we have leaders like Tom Perez, we have leaders like all of you across this country that will make sure that this day goes down in infamy. And all of those people with Donald Trump today, notice who was there, Competitive Enterprise Institute, Heritage Foundation, no CEOs of major companies, today will go down as their mugshot in the history books, and shame on them.
Thank you, Christy Goldfuss. Shame on them. Shame, 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 shame. Thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's now my pleasure to introduce Greyhawk Parsons from DC Stands with Standing Rock, and Jordan Daniel of Rising Hearts. They're going to both speak to you right now. Got two generations up here.
Which generation? Wingapo! Greetings, relatives. My name is Kwandona Wampik. In English, that's Greyhawk. I come from the people that met John White on the ship. The first time there was contact between English-speaking Europeans and Native Americans, those were my people from the Outer Banks and the Inner Banks of North Carolina. They're known as the Machiponga Tuscarora Hatras people. And whenever a native speaks, we always acknowledge our ancestors first, because that's where we draw our strength from and our courage from. Kena, Nawe, Wado, Wopila, gracias. Thank you for being here. Thank you for giving us your ears. Thank you for acknowledging that we exist. Thank you for giving us respect. Our people set the model for sustainability. When European colonization took place, pardon the expression, but everything went to hell. We are living the final stages of that nightmare now. This person across the street, I said today I'm not going to make derogatory comments about him, which is almost impossible. He told us who he was. He didn't lie about that, and that's the only thing the man has not lied about. He told us who he was. Our line in the sand was drawn where my sister Jordan comes from. She's Lakota and related to the people at Standing Rock. She and I both were there last summer and last fall. And what we saw would turn your stomach. And most of you don't even know what happened. But what they did, the oil companies and the state of North Dakota are one in the same. That's not an exaggeration. I saw them spray poison on 7 elderly women standing in water, knee-deep, praying and singing. And that was one of the nicer things they did. What they were doing was building a model for how they're going to suppress civil disobedience across this land. It's coming your way. Get prepared for it. We're the canaries in the mines. I'm going to let Jordan speak now, but there's one expression I want to leave you with. In the language of my people, which is the Lenape dialect of Algonquin, it's Pasaquewun. It means we stand, we fight. Say that with me. Pasaquewun. We stand, we fight. 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 Kena.
Thank you, Gray and Michael, for speaking and addressing everybody. And thank you, Lila Wopulatanka, for everyone being here. My name is Jordan Marie Daniel. I come from Koichasha Oyate, the Lower Bull Sioux tribe in central South Dakota. I've been here for 3.5 years on a dream to advocate for Indian country, to be in a city where decisions are made for Indigenous people and not with. And I'm coming here as a shared voice, not only representing a rising heart, but with also Indigenous Environmental Network, who is, at the forefront and on the front lines fighting for climate justice. And so some of the statements that we have today that we want to share is that, the Paris Climate Accord wasn't perfect, but it was a stepping stone in the right direction in terms of fighting climate justice and decreasing global warming and making sure that, our environment and the people are protected and safe, that our future generations have a world that they can thrive in and not inherit, a dead Unshimaka, grandmother Earth. So this agreement fell short of embracing the sort of climate solutions that lift up human rights and the rights of Indigenous people. But it opened the door for people to demand their countries to keep it in the ground, to keep fossil fuels in the ground as a strategic tactic to keep the world from getting warmer.
Keep it in the ground!
Keep it in the ground. The Paris Agreement recognized that climate change is global and not regional, that this is not a hoax, unlike number 45 believes that climate change is a hoax and it does not exist. All who contribute to the cause, all must be part of the solution. And Trump has decided to withdraw from the Paris Agreement. And this is detrimental on our human rights, on the people, and on the environment. He wants to renegotiate for a better deal and has called for collaborations from the people. Well, Indigenous communities want a seat at that table and share in that conversation where we can develop and implement the best solutions possible for our environment, for the people, and for the economy to thrive. Climate change affects our treaty rights, the right to hunt, fish, and gather in our customary areas. We must reject alternative facts, Capitalism will not heal Mother Earth. We must stand up. We must stand up to corporate interests that want to control this administration and country. And we must realize that the only direct way to stop the world from getting warmer is to keep fossil fuels in the ground. So we're going to keep growing the resistance. So keep showing up at these rallies. Keep being a voice. Keep speaking out. Join Rising Hearts, join DC Reinvest Coalition, who is divesting, getting the city of DC to divest from Wells Fargo. So join us in this movement and let's hold the president and this administration accountable and put the people first. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rising Hearts. So I have some good news and some bad news. The good news is that you guys have showed up in amazing numbers. We are like 700 people. We may be like 1,000 people out here, which is unbelievable. Thank you so much for coming. Now the bad news is that the DC police have told us that we're going to have to relocate. Yep. They've told us we're going to have to relocate. They have told us that we unfortunately won't be able to go on today, but I'm going to introduce, we are going to move though. We're going to move actually to H Street, right near, to the White House. We're going to move to H Street. We don't want anybody getting arrested here today, so we're going to move to H Street where the chain link fence is over there. If you want to, it's up to you. And, but I'm going to introduce one final speaker, and then I am going to have to ask everybody to move. I'm going to have to have the cameras move as well over to the corner of the park over there by H Street. So now it's my pleasure to introduce the Reverend Jimmy Ray Hawkins, who's from the Office of the Public Witness for the Presbyterian Church. Reverend!
I simply came here today to say that the Bible begins with these words. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. How many people of faith do we have out here today? At 3:30, President Trump removed the United States from the Paris Climate Accord. And in that statement, as Perez said, he said, well, we're standing for Pittsburgh and against Paris. Well, I came here simply today to say, President, you don't have to choose between Pittsburgh and Paris. That today Presbyterians stand with Paris. Today Episcopalians stand with Paris. Today Buddhists stand with Paris. Today Jewish community stands with Paris. Today people from all aspects of our faith, we stand with Paris. And today we're going to lift our voices. And I simply want to say to you today, don't go home. Because this is not over yet. Keep marching, keep praying, keep protesting, keep standing up for Paris. Thank you.
Hey there, everybody. All right. They told us we could keep going. Keep it going. All right. Now it is my pleasure to introduce Corrine Taylor, who's from We Act for Environmental Justice. Corrine!
Hey! They tried to kick us out, but we're saying, move, Trump! Get out the way! Move, Trump! Get out the way! Move, Trump! Get out the way! Yes! Oh, yeah, that's great. My name's Corrine Taylor. I work for We Act for Environmental Justice. We represent communities that are struggling to breathe clean air. We don't need any more fossil fuels. We don't need any more coal-powered plants. We need clean air. We need green jobs for our communities. Exiting the Paris Agreement confirms what we already know. Trump is turning his back on the 70% of Americans who favor the Paris Agreement, and they believe that climate change is a real threat. He says that this decision is protecting America. No. But you know what this decision does? It fattens the pockets of his family. It fattens the pockets of dirty polluters, and it fattens the pockets of Russia. We know what this is about. Exiting the Paris Agreement does not make America great again. It is bad for jobs. 5 times more jobs through clean energy opportunities than through fossil fuels. 5 times more. This decision is bad for global energy leadership. Close to 200 companies agree. But Trump and Russia have decided that this is a bad idea. This is bad for the public health of all Americans, our environment, and our climate. But we are united now more than ever. Our collective power increases every day. Young people, indigenous people, black people, transgender people are uniting today more than they ever have to say no to this. This decision, Scott Pruitt at the EPA. The EPA no longer is for protecting the environment, it's for polluting the environment. Environmental justice communities are pushing back. We will not stand for this. We will not stand for this. So when our earth is under attack, what do? Stand up, fight back. When our clean air is under attack, what do? Stand up, fight back. When communities like Flint, Michigan are under attack, what do? Stand up, fight back. Don't go home. Don't give in. Fight back. Because this is what we do. This is the most we've been protesting. You stay, you fight, you march, you advocate, organize, fight. We can do it. We must do it. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Corrine. Now it is my pleasure. You know, Miss Prayer with Sierra Club, and I am here to introduce the board member of the DC chapter of the Sierra Club, Jeremiah Lowry. Let's give it up for Jeremiah!
Thank you. I'm so glad they didn't shut this down, because this is beautiful. This is absolutely beautiful. Let me quickly say my name is Jeremiah, and I'm a proud member of the Washington, D.C. Sierra Club. I really encourage people, when you go home today, to join local organizations, because it's really important, right? This is an international issue, but it's also a local issue. I'm born and raised here in Washington, D.C., and some of the communities that I grew up in are still dealing with high rates of asthma, are still dealing with high rates of lead in the water, still dealing with pollution in the water. And that's actually a local issue. When climate change really starts to have an extremely devastating effect in Washington, D.C., some of the communities that are going to hit the hardest are some of the communities that I grew up in. And they're some of the poorest communities in Washington, D.C., right? And just yesterday, our own city council in Washington, D.C. voted to cut taxes for the wealthy but not invest in renewable energies, right? And so Donald, I know that sucks. It sucks. Although we need to hold Donald Trump accountable, we also need to hold our city council accountable, right? We also need to hold our state government accountable, right? Because it starts locally, right? It starts right in our neighborhood. Block by block, neighborhood by neighborhood. We got to start talking to our neighbors. We got to get them involved. We got to really have the vote, right? Vote. The world we seek has to be in our own backyards. Right? And so I really encourage folks, I'm also with the Chesapeake Climate Action Network, and we're running campaigns to hold big polluters accountable. We have an Environmental Justice Committee. We're really trying to have a robust transportation system here in Washington, D.C. So we're doing a lot. We're getting organized. We're rallying today, and we're organizing tomorrow, right? Rally today, organize tomorrow. Rally today, organize tomorrow. Rally today, organize tomorrow. So once again, y'all, continue talking to your neighbors, continue going to your community meetings, continue holding your local city council officials accountable, right? We got to really start paying. We were paying attention to what Donald Trump is doing. We're going to hold him accountable in 2020 or sooner, or sooner. But in 2018 and this year, there's going to be local races right in our neighborhoods. So we got to make sure that our local officials are on board 100% renewable energy, right? We got to make sure our local officials are accountable for our water and our air system. And so I really encourage you to join organizations, Begin talking to your neighbors and get organized. If you're in Washington, D.C., I would love to talk to you. We've got plenty of organizations you're going to get involved in. If you're in Maryland and Virginia as well. And thank you so much. I really appreciate it. This is beautiful. This is an absolute blessing. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeremiah. And now it's my pleasure to introduce Mark Magana, who's the president of the Green Latinos. Mark!
Buenas tardes! Buenas tardes! As was mentioned, I'm Mark Magana. I'm president of Green Latinos. We're a national network of Latino environmental and conservation advocates. How many out here are Green Latinos? Yeah. So I think when the police came over here, they made an accident. They went to the wrong side of the street. Shut Trump down! 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 Now when I say today, you say was a bad day. Today was a bad day. It was a bad day for the president who made a decision to side with fascists over family. It was a bad day for the president when he made a decision to side with corporations over children. Today, come on, today, it was a bad day for science. Trump has ignored science the whole time he's been here. Today, it was a bad day for frontline communities who are suffering increased asthma rates, cancer rates, who are suffering from heat exhaustion, farm workers, laborers. He doesn't care. So today was a bad day. It was a bad day for Nicaragua. Nicaragua got lumped in with Syria and the United States. They didn't sign because we didn't go far enough. So today, it was an increasingly bad day for the United States moral leadership, which we are losing every day. Today was a bad day. It was a bad day for green jobs. It was a bad day for our leadership in the renewable energy sector that we had hoped to have. It was a bad day for us and our families. Today was a bad day. It was a bad day for communities over corporations. He has sided with polluted corporations the entire time he's been here. Now, I am using the past tense for was because we are over this. We knew from the beginning this was coming. We are past this already, and we are moving on. So now when I say today, you say, was a good day. Today was a good day. Today was a good day for community, for bringing us together from all sects and races, for bringing us together to fight Donald Trump. Today was a good day for self-determination. Donald Trump does not determine what we consume. Donald Trump does not determine if we pollute, if we decide to walk or take a bike instead of drive, if we decide to take plastics instead of use a water bottle. These are our times for self-determination. We have no one to blame for ourselves. If we pollute, if we use energy, then we're the ones that determine whether another factory gets built. We're the one that can determine whether more energy is used. So we need to be the ones to stop this. So today today's a good day because we are going to use our consumption. We are going to weaponize our consumption because the more we consume, the more we make wealthy the corporate friends of the president. So if we determine right now to stop consuming for, let's say, 48 hours, not spend a dime, they will feel it and they will address our needs. But if we just say, oh, just do this because it's the right thing, we are not getting anywhere with this president. So remember that. Today is going to be a good day because we're bringing people together. So now, As Tom Perez did before, I want to do it again. Join me. Si se puede. 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 Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. And now it's my pleasure to introduce Barb Gottlieb, who's with the Physicians for Social Responsibility. Barb.
So physicians are here today because climate change is killing our people. Climate change is killing us now. How's that? Okay, thank you. Okay. Physicians are here today because climate change is killing our people. Climate change is killing our children. Climate change is killing our elderly. And guess what? It's working on the rest of us in between. I'm with Physicians for Social Responsibility, and I'd like, physicians talk in kind of a different tone. I'm not going to shout. I'm not even going to chant. I want to share a few facts with the man across the street. Climate change is harming health and killing people around the world right now. In fact, we are in a health emergency due to climate change. It's not tomorrow. It's not just polar bears. It's us, and it's now. So climate change is increasing world temperatures. You know that. Climate change temperature rise puts us at risk for heat stroke. Heat stroke is potentially lethal. The people most at risk are the poor who live in urban areas who can't afford air conditioning. It's a dangerous weather phenomenon. Even for those who survive, 30% of people who survive heat stroke suffer brain damage. Did you know? Here in the United States, heat waves are already pounding the Southwest. But did you know how many people died in the Russian heat wave of 2010? 5,000? Higher. 10,000? Higher. Over 55,000 people died in that heat wave, which also caused hundreds of massive forest fires and extensive crop damage. What about the heat wave that hit Western and Central Europe in 2003? 55,000? No, 70,000. Massive levels of death. Mr. Trump, are you listening? He's not listening. We need to ramp up the volume. Okay. So, if heat is the greatest killer associated with climate change, killing more people than floods and extreme weather and other phenomena combined, there are still other threats. More facts. Climate change does increase diseases. Here, it's no hoax. Ask your health professional. Here in this area, increased threat from Lyme disease, increased threat from West Nile disease, increased threat from asthma, which is at epidemic proportions in this country. Raise your hand if you know somebody who has asthma. Thank you. The causes of climate change are clear. We know it's fossil fuels, and fossil fuels are also piling up the health impacts on us. Asthma is serious. It's an epidemic. Guess what? Look again. Fossil fuels are contributing to heart disease, lung disease, cancer, major killers in this country as well as killers around the world. And let's look around the globe. Climate change is increasing drought, impacts on food crops, and human displacement and conflict, as we saw in Syria. Mr. Trump, don't you think that affects U.S. security and world peace? You can't make America great again without a healthy climate and a healthy people. And there is no magic pill that will cure climate change. You can't cure climate change. There is only prevention and prevention and prevention. So let me tell you PSR's prescription for a healthy climate. We have to move off of fossil fuels. We have to transition off of coal and off of methane or natural gas, which is as bad for the climate as coal. We can't keep on killing the climate. Number two, what do we do for energy? We invest in innovation, in solar energy, in wind energy, in geothermal energy, energy efficiency, battery storage, grid improvement. Renewable energy sources are plummeting in price and they're soaring in popularity. That is the future. Electricity generation is changing. We have to keep it changing to the cool, clean, no-burn renewables. And finally, let's have our country resume its place as a leader in the fight against climate change. Reverse this irresponsible decision made by the president today and join the rest of the world in building the new energy future. Thank you.
Thank you, Barb Gottlieb from Physicians for Social Responsibility. It is now my pleasure to introduce Gene Karpinski, who is the Executive Director of the League of Conservation Voters.
All right, we need to make some more noise again. How many have been at a rally already? All right. Oh, hold on. So wait. Tell me what democracy looks like.
This is what democracy looks like.
Tell me what democracy looks like.
This is what democracy looks like.
One more time. Tell me what democracy looks like.
This is what democracy looks like.
You've heard it before. We're going to keep coming back. They want us to go away, but we won't. One more chant, because I want to make sure he hears this one. President Trump, you're so vile. We don't want your climate denial. President Trump, you're so vile. We don't want your climate denial. President Trump, you're so vile. We don't want your climate denial. All right, so we know this is a bad deal for the economy, for the planet, for our health, for our science. We're all going to be back. They want us to go away. We've got to be back in the Congress, in the streets, in the courts, in the suites, and yes, at the ballot boxes, starting in Virginia, New Jersey next year. Show up. Show up. Show up. One more final thought. You know, people are asking, I get asked all the time, why is he doing this? Why is President Trump doing this? And my answer is pretty clear. He's a puppet of the polluters. Why is Trump doing this? He's a puppet of the polluters. Why is Trump doing this? He's a puppet of the polluters. One more time. Why is Trump doing this? He's a puppet of the polluters. Let's fight. Thank you.
Now it is my pleasure to introduce Ernesto Vargas, who is LCV's leader of Chispa.
Buenas tardes. My name is Ernesto Vargas. I'm the national director with Chispa, which is a program of LCV. And we're working across the country to organize Latinos to fight the climate change, to fight for clean water, for clean air. And guess what? We actually believe climate change, it's true, it's real. So the reason why I'm here is because I have a message for our president. The U.S. needs to remain a leader fighting climate change. And I want to say that in Spanish. Estados Unidos y la gente de Estados Unidos quiere que este país sea un líder en la lucha contra el cambio climático. ¿Sí o no? Sí. So, let me tell you something. Latinos not only care about climate change. A los latinos no solo le importa el cambio climático, también nos afecta. Somos una de las comunidades más afectadas por el cambio climático y estamos comprometidos en la lucha para encontrar soluciones contra la contaminación y el cambio climático. Entonces nosotros vamos a continuar. Si el presidente no quiere, el pueblo sí quiere. ¿Y saben qué? Trump, escucha, estamos en la lucha. Trump, escucha, estamos en la lucha. Trump, escucha, estamos en la lucha. Thank you. Thank you so much. Let's keep fighting.
Thank you very much, Ernesto. Now it's my pleasure to introduce Dan Mesla, who's with the Catholic Climate Covenant. Dan!
Sorry. So Catholic Climate Covenant is 15 national Catholic organizations from around the country, but mostly based in Washington, D.C., including organizations like Catholic Relief Services and U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops. Many in our faith community, especially through the United States Conference of Catholic Bishops and Pope Francis himself, had tried valiantly to urge the President to stay in the Paris Agreement, but to no avail. So from a Catholic perspective, we now ask, did President Trump not read the gift Pope Francis gave him, his encyclical on the environment? And if he did, was the President unmoved? We now ask, as a Catholic community, when President Trump said to Pope Francis that he would not forget what he said, would it not be safe to assume that he would remember His Holiness saying not to pull out of the Paris Agreement? As a Catholic community, we now ask, does it not matter that this decision could condemn current and future generations to untold suffering because of our warming planet? Does this not make a difference to the President's children and grandchildren? Do current and future generations do not matter to a President who says he is pro-life? As Catholics, we now ask, would our President really sacrifice the potential of short-term economic gain for long-term planetary and U.S. stability? As Catholics, we now ask, does the President not know that climate change unjustly and disproportionately harms poor and marginalized people, or as His Holiness calls them, the throwaway people, the ones who contribute the least to the problem? As Catholics, we now ask, does the President not know that there are American citizens in states like Louisiana and Alaska who today are being displaced by rising sea levels caused by melting glaciers and thermal expansion? As Catholics, we now ask, does the President not know that for many people in developing countries, those without resources like crop and property insurance, for these children of God, the dramatically shifting weather patterns are far more than an inconvenience? Does the President not know that these prolonged droughts and massive storms kill subsistence farm families and displace millions, exacerbating global and national security? So we, the members of the Catholic Climate Covenant, believe there is no justification for this decision, and we implore the President to reconsider this path. For our part, we are to raising our voices against climate policies that harm the people and the planet, while we advocate for policy.
So this is the day that American leadership moved from that building right there, right here. Our lives depend on it, and the lives of the billion people that I serve who don't have electricity all around the world depend on it too. This is a moment when you cannot take your eye from the prize. The prize is that jobs in the renewable energy sector in this country are growing at 17 times faster than jobs in the general economy. It's not just in renewable energy. There are jobs in waste-to-heat power in Milwaukee. There are jobs in the new building materials for the cities and the social housing in the cities across this country. Every aspect of our economy has to become more efficient, and there are jobs, 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 jobs all the way through that. He decided to turn his back on our children and our grandchildren. We will not do that. And you've already seen mayors and CEOs and governors and community leaders and the nurses and the union leaders coming out and saying, we will take up the mantle of leadership. You must commit to do that today. The leaders of Europe have said Paris is not to be renegotiated. They've already said it today. Tomorrow, Europe and China will commit to a new compact. Canada, the European Union and China will have a new front of leadership that will be emerging in September. And a study in contrast. Today, while we turned our back on the way in which America has led in the future, led in the past, the Indian Minister of Energy was where? He was at the BMW electric car manufacturing facility in southern Germany, and he was being educated on how to build super fast chargers across India, because he's made a commitment that in India you will have only electric vehicles by 2030. The rest of the world is not laughing. The rest of the world is investing, and it's building, and it's cleaning up cities, and it's imagining a future, and it's putting ourselves in a world where everybody has access to clean power, and everybody has access to the clean air, to the cheap transportation, to the new jobs that will come from that new economy. Leadership has to stay here, and you have to take this forward every day from this day forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Rachel. Thank you, Rachel. Now it's my pleasure to introduce Scott Sklar, who's with the Solar Energy Industries Association. He's going to tell you about those jobs. Let's hear it for Scott.
The extraction, conversion, and use of fossil fuels and uranium are the single largest cause of air and water pollution. They are the single largest user of clean water, which is only 3% of all the water on Earth. They are the pathway that pays and that gets money to the terrorists that are trying to kill us. And they are the single largest cause of trade debt all over the world. And lastly, as you know, they're the single largest cause of emissions causing change in our climate. Now, I saw two great signs here today about Trump's decision: shame and it's treason. And I'm here to say it's treason what happened. It's treason. Lock him up. 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 So, we have 7.4 billion people on this planet. 1.2 billion have no electricity. 1.6 billion have electricity less than 10 hours a day. Generally, not at night when they need it. They are starting to get cost-effective solutions from solar battery systems with LEDs and wind systems and pico hydro and even little biogas units. We employ 3.3 million workers in the United States in every state of the union, making energy efficiency in every state of the union. Not just West Virginia and Kentucky, but in every state of the union. And I'm here to tell you, all the energy efficiency. And remember, if you took my courses at George Washington University, it's always less expensive to save energy than generate it from any source. And we employ people who make energy storage. And we employ all the renewables. And you have to think of it all when I hear this nonsense that we can't meet all our energy needs with technology we have today. That is an alternative fact. We can. Yeah. We can. So, geothermal and our waste manures and sewage and our marine and tidal and free flow hydro and our concentrated solar and photovoltaics and solar water heating and small wind and big wind. And combined heat, power, and waste heat. We have tons of solutions. And so I put it to you this way. We employ more people than the fossil fuel industry. It is in every state in the country. And this president comes here and talks about economics. This president is boom. That's right. Boom. Boom. He's alive. He's thinking, looking back at America, what he thinks was great again, with pollution-choked cities and fires in our rivers before we had the Clean Air Act, before we got our act together. And we are here now looking at a new economy that's disruptive of the old school, that's going to create more jobs and faster jobs and give dignity and economic growth to the rest of the planet. Thank you very much. I have been in this field 40 years. Fight on.
Thank you, Scott. All right, it is my pleasure to introduce Liz Brandt from Mom's Clean Air Force. Liz. Hey, you guys are a great crowd. Woo! Woo! You came out today because you care. That's right. That's right. So I'm here with Valencia. Valencia, is there anything you want to say?
I'm for the United States.
That's right. Woo! 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 So, Bea and I, we are members of the Moms Clean Air Force. We are 1 million moms and dads who are standing up for the health of our children and fighting climate change and air pollution. You know what? I want to tell you something. We're here today because somebody just failed. Can you say that? Failed! I want to hear it again. Failed! Do you know how he failed? Do you know? This is a grandparent. This is a father. You know, we all know whether you're an aunt, an uncle, somebody's child, you leave this world better than you got it. That is our way. You know what? And he is failing at that. He is not even standing up for the health of his children and the health of his grandchildren.
He's a loser! He's a
That's right.
My friend loves the environment!
My family works for the environment, and so does yours. This is your day. This is your day to stand up and fight back. Say it. Stand up, fight back. Stand up, fight back. Stand up, fight back. Stand up, fight back. Because you know what? This is the day that you get more involved in your community because somebody is not doing their job. Somebody is failing to take care of our kids. Whether or not you're a parent, you have a stake in this. Our children are already suffering with asthma, sea level rise, heat. It's just not acceptable. And so today is the day that you get involved, that you lead. And I'm waiting for you. I want you to take this back to your neighborhood, your school, your community. And stand up, fight back. Stand up, fight back.
He was the environment!
That's right. Stand up, fight back. Stand up, fight back. It's time to say bye. Way to go, Valencia! Way to go, Liz! Woo! That's right, this is about our kids! And you heard it right there! That little girl knows that we need to do what's right for our environment and what's right for climate change, right? We have got to do this because the next generation depends on us. It is my pleasure now to introduce Jake Schmidt, who's the head of their International Climate Program from the Natural Resources Defense Council. Jake!
Thank you, Liz, and thank you all for coming out. I know we're here, we're very loud. I must say, it's a sad day. It's a very, very sad day. Sad, very sad. I went home last night from a long day of work, trying to see if I could do anything possible, last-minute efforts to try to convince that man to not do what he did today. As I was tucking my kids into bed, I looked in their face and I was very depressed. I went to bed, but I woke up this morning convinced that we need to do more, that we need to fight, because I do not want to look my children in the eye in 10 years' time and tell them that we did not do everything that we can to solve this challenge. We came to Paris and we got an agreement that had all the world's major emitters committing to move forward, to take clear steps. That's exactly what we need That's exactly what the U.S. wants. President Trump claims that he's going to get a better deal, but what we need is a deal that has the United States driving forward climate action. So what we're going to need to do is not listen to that man. What we're going to need to do is make sure that we're mobilizing, that we're getting cities, that we're getting states, that we're getting companies to move forward. We're going to have to work to get other countries to move forward, and we're going to have to make sure that we're all in this moving forward. So are you with me? Yeah! Are you in? Let's get going!
Thank you, Jake. Now it is my pleasure to introduce Heather Coleman. I almost called her Heather Kaplan because I've known her before she got married. And she is from Oxfam America. Heather!
Hey everyone, how's everyone doing today? So, I represent Oxfam. We are an organization that represents, that deals with humanitarian issues and hunger and poverty all over the world. And this president just turned our climate into a reality TV show. Is that okay? No! This president just gave the final rose to the fossil fuel industry. Is that okay? No! No, it's not okay. And this president just represented a huge amount of cowardice. A huge amount of cowardice in the fact that he was not man enough to go to the G7 and tell the rest of the world leaders what his decision was on Paris. He had to come home. This ain't no winner. This is a loser. This is someone who isn't afraid, who isn't afraid to stick it to the world's poor. So one thing I just want to remind you all of is the fact that right now more than 13 million people in East Africa are on the brink of starvation from drought associated with and made worse by climate change, okay? These are men, women, and children who are dying. They are dying every day. And they are dying because of this antiquated industry that our president has chosen to prop up. Is this okay? No! So I'm here to say that we stand together for climate justice. So when I say what do we want, we're going to say climate justice. Ready? What do we want? Climate justice! When do we want it? Now! Thank you, Heather. Let's hear that again. What do we want? Climate justice! When do we want it? Now! Awesome! All right, I am going to introduce one more speaker, and this is Ben. What is it?
Wickler.
Wickler! Woo! Ben Wickler from MoveOn.org. Ben!
Thank you. Let's try this chant. What a loser, so embarrassed, fire Trump and fight for Paris. What a loser, so embarrassed, fire Trump and fight for Paris. What a loser! So embarrassed! Fire Trump and fight for Paris! Folks, I'm Ben Wickler with MoveOn.org. There are millions of MoveOn members. There are tens of millions of people. Frankly, there are hundreds of millions of Americans standing with billions of people throughout the world who stand united today in opposition to the ridiculous, reckless loser who just made this outrageous decision in that White House, which, frankly, he can't do until after the election. You can give notice right now. This doesn't take effect until after we voted Trump or whoever succeeds him in this term out of office. There are three things. There are three things that we need to do. And the first is to make sure that it is clear that Trump stands alone, that he does not represent this country, that he does not represent our people, that he does not represent us.
Trump has a business advisory council. That business advisory council includes some of the CEOs of the biggest companies that depend on our dollars. Elon Musk of Tesla has already announced he's stepping down in protest. Now it's time for the CEO of PepsiCo, the CEO of Walmart, and the CEO of General Motors, and the CEO of Disney to do the same thing. Have you've seen the sign, there we go, with the cartoon of the dog in the fire who's drinking his coffee and he says, "This is fine." This is not fine. CEOs resign. 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 The second thing. Why is Trump doing this? Why are all the Republicans in Congress just about siding with him? Money! It's money and the power they get from money. And they will change when they realize that their jobs are under threat. Which means 2018 is when the accountability comes down. Folks, take back the House! 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 And Senate! 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 And once we've taken back the House and the Senate, and once our subpoena power has gotten to the bottom of exactly how this guy got into office, and whose money he took, and what his tax returns really say, and who he might have colluded with, once we've done all that, 2020 starts getting closer. Now you remember after this election, Van Jones said, "We just experienced a white lash." Folks, it is time in 2020 to introduce a new term to the American political vocabulary. Green lash! Green lash! Green lash! Green lash! Green lash! Because we are going to vote. What are we going to do? Vote! 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 And then we are going to re-enter the Paris Agreement, and we are going to come back in as though we never left, and we're going to fight for this planet. This day will be erased in history because we're going to stand up and fight back. What are we going to do? Stand up! Fight back! Thank you!
That's how you take it down! Thank you, MoveOn.org! You heard it here! You're going to go out. We got a corporate campaign. You're going to tell Disney. You're going to tell all of them that we need them to step it up. We need these corporations to act and to leave the council that they've been participating in. We need them to actually stand up and fight back with us. And now we know that the real leadership is right here. It left the White House, and the real leadership is right here in all of you. We need you to go. We need you to go put solar on your roofs. We need you to get active in your community. We need you to join the Ready for 100 campaign and push back on coal and oil in all of your communities. And most importantly, we need you to organize. And we need you to use love, because this man here uses hate. And the best thing we can do, love Trump's hate. 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 That's right. And we need you to use the power of love and bring in all of your friends and all of your family into this movement, because our lives depend on it and our children's lives depend on it. And we just want to say thank you so much for coming out today. I'll say on behalf of the Sierra Club and all of us here who've been speakers, thank you so much. Stay active.